Good morning, Sec 3 history students. I'm Mr. Seow, and today I want to talk about how to write an explain essay. If at any point in this video, you need to speed up, slow down, or pause to suit your learning pace, please do so. And I need you to have this worksheet with you. So this worksheet should have been given to you. It's actually notes on how to write your explain essay. So just to contextualize, why are we learning this skill? In N-level history, you will be tested on a 50-mark paper, 50 mark, and there are two sections. Section A is a source-based case study. In the source-based case study, you will be given sources from from a certain topic, a selected topic, and then you will have to demonstrate your skills. So the source skills tested include inference, purpose, comparison, reliability, surprise, and so on. And these will be taught to you over the course of the year. Section B, for 20 marks, will be on the essays. And there is only one type of essay that will be tested for your syllabus, and that is called the explain essay. The essay can start with explain why. It can start with explain how. And it will be 10 marks. And the way the exam paper works is that there will be 3 essay questions given to you. 3 essay questions. So focus on this box. Each of them will be 10 marks. The whole section is worth 20 marks. And you get to choose 2 out of 3 questions. So all 3 questions will be set on different topics, which means that you need to have an understanding of all your topics so that you can choose the 2 questions you want to do. So an example explain question could be, explain why the Reichstag fire was important to Hitler, or explain why the USA dropped the atomic bombs on Japan. Okay, so let's now proceed to the lesson, and let me teach you how to do an explain essay. So you should have this worksheet with you, a highlighter and your writing materials. And let's start by understanding what an explain essay is. The explain essay, please highlight with me as I go through. Ask for knowledge about factors or ways. So you must be able to understand and identify a factor or a way. What does that mean? We will look at it more as we go through these notes. With respect to a historical event or topic. So this is what we call identify. Please write it down in your notes. We need to identify the factor or the way, and then we need to have valid and logical reasoning that connects the factor or way to the focus, highlight. This part is called the explanation. So linking your factor or way to the question focus is called the explanation. And when we provide detailed knowledge on this is called the evidence. In other words, there are 3 steps to the explain essay. We identify a factor. So you can write this down now. You identify a factor. Give evidence. Explain to question focus. These are the 3 steps. Can you please write this down on your worksheet? You can pause and write it down. You can write it down at the side. Okay, and let me proceed. So for chapter 1, you know it's about the Paris Peace Conference, the Treaty of Versailles, and the League of Nations, right? So chapter 1 is about the Paris Peace Conference and League of Nations. And there are several questions we could ask you as explain essays. Explain why Germany was angry with the Treaty of Versailles. So some ideas can come to you now. It was harsh. It demanded that Germany give up its territory and colonies. It restricted Germany's army. So on, so on, so on. Or another question. explain why the League of Nations was undermined. Now, this word undermine is tricky. It means it lost support, it wasn't successful. Explain how military restrictions of the Treaty of Versailles will have a negative impact on Germany. This one is a bit similar to the first question, except not only do we want to know why Germany is angry, we also want to find out how it badly affects Germany. And so when we see this word negative impact, we need to see some sort of hurt, some sort of harm, some sort of damage. And for undermine, again, we want to talk about weakness, we want to talk about failures. So as you read the questions, right, you have some idea of what the question might want you to do, so on. So the first thing we want to learn is what is the question focus. So when you look at these questions, explain why Germany was angry with the Treaty of Versailles. This is the question focus. Whole thing. When I find a factor, I need to be able to link the factor to this focus. So I need to be able to find out how a factor, an idea, a way, an argument would demonstrate this question focus. In the end, I must prove this question focus. Therefore, one factor here could be, Germany was angry because of what we said, the military restrictions. That could be a factor. Military restrictions. And then I must prove it to show why it made Germany angry. So I first start by giving evidence. So if this were my question, say I choose military restrictions, then I have to give evidence. What do we know? What do we know about military restrictions? Well, we know that Germany's army was reduced and kept at how much? This is a very nice number. You will know this. 100,000 soldiers. And then I must explain the question focus. By having a small army, Germany feels weak and insecure and scared and could be attacked easily by enemies like France, which made it upset and angry. So I have to go back to the focus. So this is an example of already in a very summarized form. This is an example of an explain essay. The 3 steps: identify a factor, give evidence, and explain the question focus. Right? So to be able to do all these 3 steps, I need to know what is my question focus. And can I give you 1 minute to now try to highlight the question focuses of these 3 questions? And it's not difficult. I think you will have found out. The focus here is the League of Nations was undermined. This is the question focus. This one, how the military Treaty of Versailles would have a negative impact on Germany. Focus. And why the League of Nations failed to stop Italian aggression against Abyssinia. Focus. So please highlight and please label the question focuses now, because these will help you with understanding how essays are crafted. Okay, I'm just going to take 1 more final minute to introduce you to the idea of explain essays. So we have talked about the 3 steps. Okay, we've talked about briefly what is an explain essay. So now I'm going to look at 2 types, sort of very general, vague understanding of explain. It could be an explain why, it could be an explain how. If you use the explain why, it matches with the word because. And this is something that should become quite natural to you. Why did you wake up this morning at 5:30 a.m.? Well, because you have school starting at 7 a.m. Okay, explain how questions go to the word by. So this again should come naturally to you. How do I get to the canteen? Oh, by going down the central staircase. Okay. So this understanding applies straight to the explain questions we have just seen. Straight. So explain why Germany was angry with the Treaty of Versailles. Germany was angry with the Treaty of Versailles because the word because is my ATQ. It's my answer the question. The question is why, the answer is because. Explain how the military restrictions of the Treaty of Versailles would have a negative impact on Germany. Well, the Treaty of Versailles, the military restrictions of the treaty would have a negative impact on Germany by. You get what I mean? So the ATQ is right here, by. I copy the focus, and then I put in the ATQ. And so I won't belabor the point. Allow me to let you help yourself. Please fill in these two boxes on your own. Fill in these two boxes on your own. Okay? And the next part of the lesson, we're going to learn how to use PEAL, point, evidence, explanation, and link, to craft history essays. And when you're ready, let's go. So now we're on page 2. When you see a question like this, the first thing you do is highlight what? Highlight the question focus. Explain why Germany was angry with the Treaty of Versailles. And now I need to come up with factors. I need to come up with ideas. Factors, ideas, answers. So this is my question. And without referring to the answer below that you see, you could think of several answers. What could you think of? We're going to take 1 minute to think about this. You can pause the video, write down what you think are some answers. And then I could tell you, angry in the Treaty of Versailles because the treaty blamed Germany for starting the war. You could even start with Germans felt it was unfair because the treaty blamed Germany. What else? The treaties forced Germany to pay reparations. What else? The treaty took away Germany's land and colonies. What else? The treaty imposed military restrictions on Germany. So these are 4 answers, as it were, 4 ideas you could have, and these are what we would call factors. So the factors are basically the answers you have to the question. And you see that factors are just the answers to the question. And I picked 2 out here in this box. I picked reparation and territory, or in other words, land. I picked these 2 factors to talk about. You could test yourself, you could challenge yourself and pick the other 2 to write about after I show you how to write the explain essay. Okay? So I just picked out 2. And so the way we write this explain essay is we have 4 elements. You should highlight this. We have the point, the evidence, the explanation, and the link. Let's start with the point. The point is the ATQ plus the factor. So the point is made out of ATQ plus factor. So in this case, I write why was Germany angry with the Treaty of Versailles? Germany was angry because of reparation payments. So that is the point. The point is the ATQ plus the factor. And then I give some evidence. Well, how much is the reparation payments? So we learned this in the textbook. Forced to pay 6.6 billion pounds to the allies. And what is the problem with this? So what? So what if Germany is forced to pay $6.6 billion? Well, as a result, if you have to pay lots of money, you become impoverished and poor. You become really poor. You have no money to spend on good things for Germans. And so Germans' life get worse. Germans' lives get worse. And therefore Germany is angry. Can you see the very clean logical flow? Germany is angry because of reparation payments. Well, Germany has to pay 6.6 billion. That makes Germany poor. Germany has no money to spend on health on education. Germans' lives get worse, and so Germany is angry. That is the flow of an argument. You could, if you could, you can demonstrate a second explanation. Moreover, the fact that Germany have economic problems would mean that the payments would worsen these problems like unemployment and inflation, would prolong Germany's suffering of these economic problems, and so Germany is angry. So wherever you can, you minimally need one explanation, but you could come up with two. And these explanations will allow you to reach the highest mark level of the explain essay. So please pause and please read this whole paragraph and think about how it makes sense. And that is one factor. Now let's suppose we take the other factor, territorial losses. And can I invite you to pause the video after this part, pause the video for 10 minutes and fill in this box on your own. So please pause the video for 10 minutes and fill in this box on your own. I hope you tried. I can understand if you got stuck. But I hope you tried because this is your first attempt at an explain essay. And so, how would you have filled it in? I think you understand that this part is the ATQ. And so this is my factor. My factor is actually territorial losses. I'm going to put everything I type in blue so that you know what to check or even what to do corrections for. For example, what do we know that Germany lost? Germany lost Alsace, Lorraine to France, and the Polish corridor, Poland, including parts of Upper Silesia. Germany also lost her overseas colonies as All in all, Germany lost about, I think it was 10% of her land. And 13% of the population, or was it the other way around? Okay, but this should be correct. Around 10% of her land. As a result, Germany feel humiliated. I give you the first explanation. Wow, I'm so small. I'm tiny. I'm humiliated. Humiliated means embarrassed, means losing face. Right? So Germans are angry because our country is smaller. Our pride is hurt. Their pride is hurt. The country is small. This is the first explanation, the hurt pride. What's the second explanation? Did you think of it? Actually, there are multiple routes. Another explanation is furthermore, with the loss of land, Germany would lose important economic resources like iron and also some industrial factories. This made Germany poorer and the lives of her citizens more difficult, which made Germany angry with the Treaty of Versailles. So this could be a second explanation. The loss of economic resources, the loss of industrial factories, which makes Germany poorer, and therefore the lives of people more difficult, and therefore Germans are angry with the Treaty of Versailles. Okay, so you can pause now for a minute and write in any explanations you might have missed out. And at this point, I think the structure of the essay is quite clear now. Quite clear. The explain essay, please note this, you need 2 PU paragraphs, which means you need 2 factors. 2 factors to be able to do 2 PUs. And the PU, PEEL, point, evidence, explanation, and link, I have demonstrated it for you here. I hope that this has been a clear exercise, that you understand now what is PU and how that flows. One tip is to read the whole thing to yourself. Read the question and then read the answer and then see if you understand. Let me do it for the second paragraph. Explain why Germany was angry with the Treaty of Versailles. 10 marks. Germany was angry with the Treaty of Versailles because of territorial losses. For example, Germany lost Alsace-Lorraine to France, the Polish corridor to Poland, including parts of Upper Silesia. Germany lost the colonies. Germany lost 10% of her land. As a result, Germany felt humiliated that she was a smaller country, her pride was hurt, and she lost land and people to her rivals. Furthermore, with the loss of land, Germany would lose important economic resources like iron and factories, made Germany poorer and the lives of her people more difficult. And thus, territorial losses made Germany angry with the Treaty of Versailles. I hope it flows. If you have a question about the link is really just repeat. Excuse me. Just repeating the point, repeating the factor, and repeating the focus. Thus, the factor, territorial losses, the focus, Germany angry. So the link is just repeating the factor and the focus. In other words, the whole explain essay, okay, is going from, okay, it's explaining from, is reasoning from factor to focus. The link is a 1-sentence summary of what you have proven in your point, evidence, explain. The link is a 1-sentence summary of your PEE argument. Because your argument must go from factor to focus, from territorial losses to Germany angry, from reparation payments to Germany angry. And these factors you must come up with on your own when you see the question, when you see the focus. You have to come up with answers to the question, and those are your factors. Okay. I'm ending this part, this whole lesson soon. It's already 23 minutes. What do you do at the bottom of this page? This is the same question. This is the same question. I want you to copy this whole paragraph as it is, like that. Copy it into this paragraph. And copy the second paragraph, factor 2, into this paragraph. And after you copy the whole thing, you will see how the essay is structured. Okay, so that's what I do for page 2. On page 3, now this is interesting. This is how we mark your essays. This is how, as a teacher, I'm marking your essays. I've only shown you the mark ranges for L3 and L4 because I believe I should teach you what the best essays look like. And then you aim towards L3 and L4. Don't bother thinking about L1 and L2. You want minimally to hit 6 out of 10. And in fact, 6 out of 10 is pretty low. You want to hit 8 out of 10. So the best, the L4, is explaining two factors. But to explain two factors, you must start with explaining one factor, right? You explain one factor, and then after you explain one factor, your second factor gets you L4. So in this case, start by looking for the what? In the question, we look for the question focus. Military restrictions, negative impact, highlight. So this is my question focus. This is, by the way, adapted from an N-level question, 2019 N-level. So it could be easily could be a actual question you face next year in September, right? This is an N-level difficulty question. So this is trickier. It's trickier than the question we just did because the examiner restricted it to military restrictions. So the point now would be the point and the factor now would be restricted. So military restrictions, what happened? It could lead to loss of pride. It could lead to insecurity and fear. Could we think of anything else for now? Well, maybe these two first. Okay. Oh, and in fact, I did go with these two for the point. So let's take a look. Military restrictions have negative impact by reducing Germany's security. Okay, so that's the factor I went with, the first one. For example, Germany's army was restricted to 100,000 men. You could also say more things here. You already know that Germany was not allowed to have an air force or navy. And so on, so on. You could give more details. Loss of military strength would make Germany more vulnerable, which weakened her security, right? Explanation one. Germany could be threatened by other countries, which made Germany poorer. Because France threatened Germany and said, look, you have to give us your coal. We will take your things. We will make you poorer. We are snatching your things. Other countries could snatch Germany's things. What's another factor? Hurting Germany's pride. So when you have explained one factor, just to be clear, you are at 7 marks. You have explained one factor really, really well. Really well. That's 7 marks. So let's go to the second factor, Germany's pride. Okay. Yeah, no navy, no tanks, no air force. And so Germany felt humiliated as she is seen as inferior, as lower than her neighbors. And Germany would feel that they are reduced, they are bitter, and they hate their leaders, which creates some conflict. And all this conflict and bitterness, let's look at the link, thus military restrictions, or thus hurting Germany's pride factor was a reason that military restrictions, or was why military restrictions, was how military restrictions would have a negative impact. Similarly, thus reducing Germany's security. So this is our link. Notice one thing, the link doesn't have any marks. I'm not marking you for the link, but the link helps you understand the whole argument. It's a one-sentence summary of the whole argument. So the reason I teach you to write link is so that you don't go off topic. You know that when you have to run back to your factor and how it goes to the focus, you know what you need to do, what you need to prove. You need to prove this. You need to prove how the factor will lead to the focus. How reducing Germany's security will lead to a negative impact. How hurting Germany's pride will lead to a negative impact. So that is what you need to prove. Okay, I spent quite a long time on this lesson, the explain essay. I went quite slowly. I hope that you understood a few things. Firstly, that explain essay always starts with ATQ. Secondly, that and how to ATQ. Secondly, that you have to find the question focus whenever you look at the explain essay. And thirdly, on how to craft the peel paragraph, point, evidence, explanation, and link, such that you can prove your argument, prove how each factor leads to the focus. So that's my lesson on explain essay for today. I hope that it has been helpful. For the rest of these notes, this question here, League of Nations undermined. This question here, League of Nations successful. You know what to do. Go and highlight the question focuses. Use your textbook. Try to write these essays. Use your textbook, try to write these essays. And highlight the focus, write few paragraphs. And for this part, these are a whole series of example essays for you to practice if you want to for WA1. So these are all the essay questions and more that we could test. We could test for WA1. This variation should be enough to prepare you well for the 10-mark explain essay, as well as for N level eventually. Okay, thank you for paying attention. Have a good day ahead, and all the best for your assessments.